Alright, once again, apologies for punts galore, but it's been interesting to see the power level of this deck, and it still wins despite a lot of what we're kind of slugging through due to my own inability to play a deck like this. It's the idea behind proactive cantripping in general is something brand like not great to me. Yes, is this a turn one combo? 1, 2, 3. Yes, it is. I will keep. We are on the play also, and our opponent has mulliganed. If our opponent has... Okay, put a card in the bottom, they kept on 6. Okay, I don't have to burn the fetch. So likely get a force if they have one. They do not have a force of will. Excellent. So this is one of those busted starts that this deck can have. In that there's a turn one bird situation going on. Our opponent can definitely still like win from this position. It'll just be tough. And we were able to get there. Our opponent mulliganed to 6, showed us nothing, scratch at the bottom. Unclear what they're on, but I think some of these are worthwhile. Maybe just the 2 Echoing Truths. And I will board out a Preordain. They mulliganed and showed us nothing. I'll take out the Fork Bolt also on the draw. Just as a slight hedge more than anything else. Okay. We will keep this hand. For sure. We're gonna get a Volcanic Island and then Preordain, Ancient Tomb. Chalice of the Void? Chalice of the Void. Okay, so we have outs to this, technically. Chalice on 0. Sure. So this is cast it. It does. Okay, so it doesn't actually matter to be doing this. So I'm going to play this and pass in case they're on Moon Stompy. And that way I can go get the island to cast the Echoing Truths, should we draw them. Wasteland indicates Crucible Worlds. Interesting. Well, we have successfully played around that. Our opponent's on an interesting strategy, to be sure. Wasteland plus Crucible in an Ancient Tomb deck makes me think of Karn Stompy, I suppose, like Planeswalker Stompy, or like a Stax deck of some sort. Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, so now we need to find 2 things, which could be doable, but will be difficult. I'm gonna go ahead and cast Am I buried alive now? Because it can still chain off with Phoenixes. Yep. That may have been a mistake by our opponent, by the way, because we, technically speaking, we can, if they have a land in hand, I suppose, is what I'm getting at. Because then they wouldn't be able to, like, empty their hand. That's fine. Wow. Okay. So on our opponent's end step, we will Echoing Truth all three of these back to their opponent's hand. And now we Cabal Therapy ourselves and Dark Witch roll a bunch. That seems... And that's the league. We went 3-2, kind of surprising, to be honest, because we started off very, very poorly. Let's go ahead and go to the deck real quick. So we played very, very poorly round one, absolutely for certain. I don't know. Our opponent definitely deserved to defeat us there. And then our other loss, we lost to Stefan Schultz on Burn, which... Technically speaking, we clicked through our attack step for lethal, so we should have maybe won that, but again, we didn't. And Stefan capitalized upon it correctly. There was actually a multitude of ways that we could have stopped that from happening, but instead we chose to not. So that's definitely on me. And we lost to Moon's Stompy due to just simply not having our hand line up the way it was meant to. Thoughts about the deck in general. I really liked the list quite a bit. Again, it's this concept of a strategy is very difficult for me to kind of play just due to the nature of, like, I like to play Delver decks or like Miracles decks and so on. But it was a lot of fun, to be sure. And I think Arcanist definitely kind of leveraged its muscles, at least in the first match. Other than that, it didn't really matter a ton because our core of these cards is what won us a lot of those games. But I think Arcanist is one of the... It's a very interesting card from War of the Spark that I think a lot of people are still trying to figure out. As you can see, I have this like Grixis Delver list that I played. It was more close. I think this was the one that or similar to this, that I played against Max in our min-max battle video. And then this iteration was something that I was kind of working on, figuring out the numbers for. And I think I arrived here, but I might play this in a future Legacy video that I do. I'm kind of not... I'm taking a small pause from Miracles until Modern Horizons comes out on Magic Online, because the fetch land changes this deck drastically, and I think that I'd like to play that more. I think Narset Parted Veils is very, very good at Miracles, and I'll definitely be talking about and playing that in a future list. So like my initial inclination with the new Prismatic Vista, I believe it's called, the 5-color fetch land, is to replace Arid Mesa and 3 of the off-color blue fetches for 4 Flooded Strands, 4 Vistas, and then 1 Tarn Delta off-color blue fetch, essentially, to clean up the way your fetch sequencing works, and to further allow additional cards like the basic Mountain and just kind of clean up your mana base quite a bit, and that makes I think it's difficult to work on a deck list between now and the release of Modern Horizons because quite a bit can change, and the release is only just a few weeks away, so I'm definitely going to wait until that and try to work more on shells with Arcanist. I like this card a lot. I still suspect that Grixis Delver is more of a better home for a card like this because it can leverage the Brainstorm, the cantrips, the removal spells, and also the Thoughtseizes, like the discard elements more. It makes this card more flexible, and the flexibility is very powerful in general. But overall, I like Phoenix quite a bit, and I think we could have, at the very least, 4-1, given me playing moderately better. But again, that kind of is one of the growing pains of playing a deck like this, in that it's just very drastically different from things I'm used to doing. It's kind of like this cross between Storm, Delver, and like the old like Dig Through Time Pyromancer control deck of Legacy ages ago. It's kind of like this hybrid in between all of those things, and it's very, very difficult for me to kind of wrap my head around playing something like this, especially with a new card and a new element and so on. Thank you all very much for watching. Again, I know that the quality of Magic was somewhat lackluster, but I think this card definitely showed quite a bit of power, and it was a big part to me being able to pull back and win round one, and so on. So thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you next time.